Dear ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and salam sajatra. Allow me first to introduce myself. I am ELSayed Hamouda, Senior Inspector for Industry Sector with Safety, Health and Environment National Authority, Shena. As a regulator for safety, health and environment, as well as radiation matter, in BRUNEI DARUSSALAM, Shena remains steadfast in its belief and commitment that it can make a difference and ensure BRUNEI is a safe place to work and live, delivering again an inspiration of the nation under the WASAN 2035, deliverable quality of life. Shena believes in raising its standard in workplace and preventing work-related injuries and in particular fatalities. As part of our ongoing drive to reach out our stakeholders, this month, which is declared as a Safety Month, in conjunction with the World Day for Safety and Health at Work, we are pleased to present the topic on safety in lifting operation. Through the presentation, I will provide you with practical advice and recommended industry practices when conducting lifting operation, being as employer and occupier, and how to manage the risk of lifting operation in compliance with Workplace Safety Health Order 2009 and its regulation, such as training and competency requirement for the lifting team, planning and organizing lifting operation, inspection and examination of the lifting equipment, and finally permit to work. Crane and lifting machines are useful and important equipment used in industry for lifting heavy loads. In BRUNEI DARUSSALAM, there are different types of crane, such as truck-mounted crane, rough terrain crane, all-terrain crane, crawler crane, tower crane, pedestal crane, and etc. Crane and lifting machine must be used safely because lifting and hoisting operation have the potential to cause significant impact to people, assets, and environment. Thus, it's so important that this risk must be managed as low as practically reasonable. Lifting and hoisting operation are one of the major causes of fatalities and serious injuries within construction industry. Every lifting operation has its own risks that need to be managed if the lift is to be undertaken in safe and efficient manner. Globally, 20% of work-related fatalities happen in industry are crane-related, according to OSHA. Accidents involving lifting activities happen because of many reasons. Investigations have revealed that the main reasons are poor planning and poorly maintained equipment. These are some examples of lifting incidents happening globally. One of the most tragic crane incidents happened with a crawler crane collapsing over the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, Saudi Arabia on 11 of September 2015, killing 111 people and caused injuries for 394. In BRUNEI DARUSSALAM, lifting operations are second highest causes of fatality within industry after falls from heights. In 2017, 5 crane significant incidents were reported with 1 fatality. In 26 August 2018, while construction work was being done at Tembrong Bridge project, main basket hoist cable snapped, causing the basket to fall down, which resulted in 3 fatalities. Crane management is one of HSC focus area within industry in BRUNEI DARUSSALAM due to this number of fatalities and injuries happened the last 7 years. The key findings of these incidents were inappropriate use of equipment, use of crane without certificate of examination, poor or no maintenance of cranes, poor planning, crane operator without competency certificate, and lack of supervision. Here you can find applicable law and legal framework in BRUNEI with regard to crane management. Here you can find legal provision imposed on any person in control of lifting equipment are specifically under the Workplace Safety and Health General Provision Regulation 2014 and Workplace Safety and Health Construction Regulation 2014. Just I would like to explain to you briefly some of this regulation. Regulation 21 for General Provision Regulation is requiring that any employer shall ensure lifting equipment is certified and examined by authorized examiner before put in service. Regulation 134 of Construction Regulation is requiring crane and lifting machine shall have enough strength and stability. Just to give you an example, mobile crane lifting load. Mobile crane shall have enough rated capacity to carry the weight of intended load. and shall set up as per the crane manufacturer so the crane will not be toppling during lifting operation. Regulation 135 of construction regulation is requiring that any crane to have load chart to help the crane operator not to exceed the rated capacity of the crane. Regulation 137 of construction regulation is requiring that no one shall walk under suspended load and no one shall control the swinging of the load manually. Now we're going to zoom in more about these 4 legal duties, which are training, risk assessment, planning, and permit to work. We start with the trainings. So one of the duty of employer under Section 12 of Workplace Safety and Health Order 2009 is ensuring that the person at work have adequate instruction, information and training and supervision is necessary for him to perform his work. All personnel involving in lifting operation shall be trained and have the required experience for the type of the lift to be undertaken and formally assessed as a competent from approved training provider. Lifting team will be led by rigging supervisor to ensure the safe lifting operation. Then you have the banksman who will give the signal to the crane operator, who will operate and set up the crane as per the crane manufacturer. Then finally you have the riggers who will be attaching and detaching the sling from the load to the hook of the crane. Let's discuss in more details about their roles and responsibility of each member of the lifting team. Let's start with rigging supervisor. So rigging supervisor, or sometimes they call him person in charge or appointed person for lifting operation. He is the lead of the lifting operation. He must be trained and competent by undergoing relevant training, such as a person in charge training from approved training provider. He must make sure there is a lifting plan in place before commencing lifting operation, and he will determine what method and equipment will be used during lifting operation. He must ensure that this lifting plan and this method has been cascaded to his team during toolbox talk, and ensuring that the lifting team are competent and familiar with the task assigned to them. Now banksman. Banksman, or sometimes we call him signalman, is required to be appointed for lifting operation which involve mobile crane, tower crane, offshore crane, or other lifting machine. He must be trained and competent by undergoing relevant training from approved training provider such as banksman level 2. He will give the signal to start the lifting operation. Once the load in the air, it is the responsibility of the crane operator. Unless crane operator line of sight obstructed, then the banksman will guide the crane operator. Banksman must identify himself by wearing high visibility safety jacket. Banksman must place himself in prominent place where he can have good view of lifting activity. Only banksman can give signal to crane operator to avoid interference between signal. However, in case of emergency, anyone can give emergency stop signal. Banksman must keep all the time with communication with the lifting team. Now, riggers. So the main duty of rigger, he will be attaching and detaching the sling from the load to the crane hook. He must ensure that the load being lifted is secured, is balanced and stable. A rigger must be competent by undergoing relevant training from approved training provider such as rigging level 2. For safety of the riggers, they should keep their hands, fingers and feet away from any pinch point. They must not control the swinging of the load manually. They must use tagline and hand-free tools. Emergency escape route shall be clear and identified during lifting operation for the lifting team in case of any emergency. Now, duty of crane operator. So crane operator must be competent and having valid certificate from approved training provider and familiar with the model of the crane he is operating. Crane operator must know how to interpret the load chart so the load being lifted is not exceeding the safe working load of the crane. He must communicate and inform rigging supervisor in case of any emergency, such as unstable ground, strong wind, or lightning, or any others. He must set up the crane according to the crane manufacturer. For example, a mobile cranes, he must ensure that outrigger will be extended fully, and he must ensure there is a steel cone under the outrigger beds to ensure the crane will not be toppling during lifting operation. Crane operator, he also in charge for routine maintenance of the crane, and he will carry out pre-use check before operating the crane. Now we will start to talk about risk assessment and lifting plan. So risk assessment. Risk assessment is one of legal requirements according to the Workplace Safety and Health Risk Management Regulation 2014. Every lifting operation must have a risk assessment, identifying all associated hazards, their severity, and likelihood of occurrence prior to start any lifting operation. Control measures must be in place to reduce this risk as low as reasonably practicable. Allowed. For example, common hazards associated with lifting operation will be failure of crane, toppling of crane, collision with adjacent structure, unstable ground, adverse weather, pinch point, personal crash or hit by crane, and others as well. Uncommon control will be permit to work, approved lifting plan, no authorized person enters the lifting area, wearing personal protective equipment, lifting team must be competent, lifting equipment must be inspected and certified, use of hand-free tools and tagline, and other control as well. Now we will talk about lifting plan. So lifting operations are inherently hazardous. Effective lifting plan is so essential in order to complete the lifting operation safely. Adequate lifting plan shall address aspects and activities such as weight, size, and center of the gravity of the load, lifting point, method of slinging, integrity of the load, initial and final load position and how to get there, weather condition, way of communication between the lifting team, ground condition, competence of the lifting team, emergency escape route, contingency plan, and others. Person in charge shall classify the lifting operation to reflect the increase of the risk and the consequences increase of control required. For example, according to Operation Standard 7121, the lifting operation shall be classified to basic lift, standard lift, and complex lift. Basic lift where the weight is known and no hazard or obstruction. Complex lift where there is increase of hazards. So there is increase of control measure such as use of tow crane, blind lift, subsea lift, man riding operation, and others as well. Now we will start to talk about permit to work. So permit to work is legal requirement as well under Construction Regulation 2014. Permit to work is one of integrated element safe system of work along with risk assessment and lifting plan to reduce the risk as low as is practically reasonable. Permit to work from its name, it is permit issued by a responsible person after assessment of work and ensuring all safety precautions in place prior to start the work. Now we will start talking about the duty of thorough examination. So it is legal duty of anyone has control of crane and lifting machine to ensure the lifting machine or cranes has been inspected and certified by authorized examiner. And this is in accordance with Regulation 21 of General Provision Regulations. Thorough examination is required to look for any structural defect or any weakness that are likely potentially affect strength, safety, or integrity of the lifting equipment, and unlikely to be picked up by the end user or operator during daily check, such as cracks, deep corrosion, calibration of the safety device, and other defects. Authorized examiner will be using different methods, such as function tests, non-destructive tests, load tests, check of thickness of components, will take some measurement, and other methods as well. Now, who is the authorized examiner? Authorized examiner who someone have practical experience and theoretical knowledge to enable him to identify the defect and assess this defect in relation to safety and continued use of lifting equipment. Authorized examiner also must be approved by authority under Section 33 of Workplace Safety Health Order 2009. In BRUNEI DARUSSALAM, there is third-party inspection agency and authorized examiner will be working under them. So the owner of lifting equipment could engage with this agency to get his equipment and cranes being certified. Let's summarize everything. So any lifting operation, before start of any lifting operation, you must ensure the following. Lifting area is clear from any person could be injured by falling or shifting the load. Don't walk under suspended load, which is one of life-saving rules. During lifting operation, no one shall stand between load and wall or any other obstructions. During lifting operation, make sure there is emergency escape route available. Before lifting operation start, make sure there is risk assessment, lifting plan together with permit to work are in place. Lifting team must be trained competent and certified. Make sure the lifting equipment have been certified for use within the last 12 months as a minimum. However, for lifting equipment used for man riding, such as cherry picker or elevated working platform, shall be inspected every 6 months. Load shall not exceed the dynamic or static capacity of the lifting equipment. All safety devices installed with the lifting equipment shall be operational, and this is responsibility of the operator of the lifting machine. Any lift deviate from the lifting plan or any complication arise, lifting operation must be stopped immediately until replanning and reassessment is carried out. Lifting equipment shall be inspected before each lift by competent person. Last but not least, it is time for our organization to change their mindset and realize that the safety is so important and necessary for their business sustainability, as it will reflect positively and build their reputation. Safety shall not be compromised to meet the project deadline or any other reason. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope to have safe lifting operations, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.